Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Shoot the Chit. Today we're going to be doing a range test on the wired cruiser. I'm going to ride the bike like I normally do, which is pedal assist 2 or 3, but I use the throttle on and off. It's going to be a real world expectation of what kind of range you're going to get out of this. As of right now, I'm not exactly looking forward to a potential 30-40 mile ride. But anyways, guys, this is what I do for you. So, all I want back is maybe like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But that's enough small talk. Let's go ahead and get out on the wired cruiser and see how far we can go on this bad boy. We're going to be starting out this ride in what's known as the Cortiva Wetlands. It's a nice little nature preserve that's in my town. I'm fortunate to live in an area that has a very diverse geography. We have hills, we have waterfront, we have this nature preserve, a lot of parks. This windmill here was used in the movie Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood. It wasn't here at the time though. So the first part of this ride today is going to be on flat ground. It's this gravel road. We'll be doing some hills later on, but not too far into the ride because I definitely don't want to run out of battery when there's any hills around. But we're going to see a nice variety of landscapes today. So we are approximately 2 miles into the ride. It's funny, looking for range test videos on these bikes. I saw one of a guy who did a range test on the Wired Freedom, and his video was like an hour and a half long. I'm not going to be doing a feature-length film on the Wired Cruiser range test. I don't know if you guys want that though, leave it in the comments. I got this little thing. We're now leaving the wetlands. We are 3.2 miles in, but made a quick little stop. I'm exactly at 500 miles on my wired cruiser now. So it's pretty cool. Had no problems with it so far. Probably make a follow-up review at some point. But yeah, guys, just wanted to stop and commemorate the 500 mile mark. I always enjoy riding up these walls when I come across them. Woo. This makes no sense because somehow I was riding directly into a headwind, and now I'm going the opposite direction and it's still going right into my face. So I don't know if you guys have ever had that experience before, but it's like no matter what direction you're going into the wind. It's just one of those days. Honestly, this is one of those days where if you're on a regular bike, you're not going to be having a fun time. The e-bike makes the wind much more tolerable. Doing my checks before taking the bike out today, I did notice, I looked at the air pressure in my rear tire and it was at 21 psi, which is for a fat tire bike, that's a lot of pressure. So I backed it down to 15. I'm not sure how that happened, but it does seem noticeably softer. I don't know if you can see from the video, but the bike trail is down there. I took a little detour and riding up on this ridgeback that goes next to it. All things that you're going to find yourself doing if you get an e-bike and get up out and about. It's just funner, I have a feeling the Freedom would do significantly better on that stretch than this bike is. It's a bit bumpy. Just wanted to stop here at this park. No particular reason at all. Okay, let's get back out on the trail. What do you say? Okay, we're about 6.2 miles in. I wanted to point this out because now I'm at this reservoir here. I'm gonna make a loop around this reservoir. But another random thing, there's this water spillway here. And I'm on a Facebook group that shows old pictures of Contra Costa County where I lived. And I saw a picture of this area in 1967. Kind of neat to see that how much different it looks today. But some takeaways at this point in the ride. I've had to use pedal assist 4 and 5 to get up this hill. Like I said, these bikes are geared really steep, so you can't really get yourself in a meaningful cadence to get up hills very easy. Even though the bike has plenty of power, it's just not geared low enough to get up the hill without cranking up the assistance really high. It's enough talk. I'm gonna get back out there. Okay guys, we are 8.9 miles into the ride now. I'm going to be entering a regional park for a bit. This is Black Diamond Mines. This is an old coal mine area here. So this, we're going to get a little bit of hill climbing in here and some varied riding of sorts, but yeah. I just came from way down there. It's a decent little climb up here. But one thing I do have to notice is it's becoming more and more pronounced, is if you're doing prolonged hill climbs, they have to be fairly steep hills, where the point where you're having to go 10 miles an hour, 12 maybe, you really start to notice that you have to crank up the assist level on the motor quite a bit to continue going up these hills, or you have to start pedaling quite a bit. So I got a little bit out of breath. And granted, you know, most people probably wouldn't be taking a bike like this on these trails. But anyways, you know, I know elevation doesn't come across well in videos. I'll tell you the elevation total at the end because I have my Strava running. We're at a fairly decent grade right now. I'm all the way in the lowest gear, pedal assist 3, and this isn't much of a problem. But if it gets much steeper than this, you're gonna have to like really start cranking away at the pedals or just turn the power all the way up. I don't like to ride on full power. I don't know what it is. It feels like I'm cheating a little bit. Maybe that's my old school mindset kicking in. But coming up, there's this little detour you can take, and I usually take that on my full suspension bike. But you know what? I'm going to try it on the cruiser and let you guys know how that goes. It's Mount Diablo in the background. This is where these fat tires do great. These gravel roads, it just soaks all that right up. Feels nice and stable. We're coming up to the detour right here. There we go. Nice little single track section. We did it. What do you say? That was pretty extreme, huh guys? My shins are really taking a beating with all this dry brush. Ooh. We'll be making a stop up here at one of my favorite little destinations. This is another trail that I'm sure the guys over at Wired weren't designing this bike around, but nevertheless, we're going to do it anyways, aren't we? So with voltage sag, currently seeing, it looks like it's around 59 volts, but as soon as you stop pedaling, it'll go back up. So it's hard to say exactly what we're at. I don't have the chart open in front of me, but I think 56 volts is about half battery. The gauge is showing 3 out of 4 bars, but I don't really trust the gauge. Check that out, guys. These are just some of the things you'll start to see when you have an e-bike and you get out more and more. There are old coal mines around here, but this one you can go in quite a bit. Let's see how far we can go before we can't see anything at all. You guys scared yet? Okay. I'm gonna turn on the light now. Whoa. Ground is wet. It's like we're on TVR exploring right now. We're addicts. Let's see. Can you see? Can you barely see my bike out there? It's pretty warm in here, despite it being somewhat cold outside. And here we are at the end. Can't see too much further. Got this sparkly stuff growing on the walls in here. I believe that somebody said that was asbestos. But maybe if one of you knows, you can put it in the comments. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here before somebody decides to take my bike and I have to walk home. We made it, guys. Call me corny, but I really enjoy coming out to places like this, and you realize, this isn't too far from my house. I'm like 9 miles into the ride right now, and this is like I'm the only one out here. It's peaceful. You get to check stuff out. So when you start riding your bike around, you'll find yourself getting in more and more situations like this, where you're kind of just enjoying nature, soaking it all in. This isn't a video about exploring mines, is it? This is a range test, so we got to get back out there. So just wanted to check out the cave here. The rest of the features require too much climbing and a little out of the capabilities of this bike, in my opinion. So I'll climb some hills, but I'm not trying to climb anything too steep. And now's the fun part. Going down the hill, we spent all that time climbing up. Not using the motor power at all. I'm doing about 25. You definitely got to be careful of taking corners on gravel. It's very easy to slide out, so don't go just barreling down these things and thinking you're going to take a nice sharp corner and grab. It's not going to happen. Doing 30, no problem, just barely pedaling, going downhill like that. 32, 33. Now leaving the coal mines, and we're going to be riding on the street a little bit, and then I'm going to meet back up with some bike trails. So I'm not going to bore you with those details. We'll go ahead and catch up to you guys when I'm back on the trail. There's this old road in my town that now is no longer open to through traffic, but it's open to bikes and hikers. A couple updates now. We're at 14.7 miles. The gauge here is showing 2 out of 4 bars, but the one on the battery itself is showing 3. little section of road right here was referred to as Gravity Hill. It's funny because they said, you know, if you stop your car, it looks like you're going uphill. So you put it in neutral and you'll start rolling. Hey, it's actually working on the bike here. And then they said it was from the ghosts of kids that were died in a bus crash here. And if you put flour on the trunk of your car, you'll even see the fingerprints of the kids that are pushing you. I don't know how many people it took to put 2 and 2 together that it's probably your own fingerprints on the trunk lid, but you know, whatever. The funny thing is, I think a lot of towns have that exact same urban legend. So we are at 17.4 miles now. Battery gauge showing half. You know, 57 volts. We're just moving right along. You know, I hate doing this. You're gonna have to ride along this busy road for a short bit. So I'm going to be dipping into the throttle quite a bit here. Because, this is one of my least favorite things to do. Look, you see here, there's no shoulder, but I need to get where I'm going. This is the fastest way. I don't know how those road bikers do this all the time. That is not my idea of fun. Stopped, taking a bit of a break, having a protein bar and a Red Bull. We're at 20.5 miles right now. I'm gonna start heading back towards my house because honestly, I wanted to go a little further, but I don't really want to risk running out of battery and having to pedal this M1 Abrams back home. I'd have to call for a ride at that point, honestly. I wouldn't do it. You know, which brings me to a point. I see all these people talk about range this and range that. I want to see down in the comments, how many of you guys have actually gone for a 40-mile bike ride, electric or non-electric? I don't think people realize, like, I've taken out people multiple times on bikes, and 30 miles seems to be about the peak before people start really not having fun. Whether it be the seat gets uncomfortable, they get tired, or they just don't want to be riding anymore. I've done 60 miles. I've done it on a traditional, on a hardtail truck, and I've done it on my Turbo Levo. So, but that was more of like an all-day event. We could stop, it wasn't a race or anything. People talk about range. To me, if a bike can do 40 miles, that's more than enough for 90% of the situations you're gonna be in. Unless you're genuinely commuting like a very long distance to work, or you just wanna charge your bike once a week, you don't really need to have range for 100 miles. Not on a bike like this. I mean, if your bike is capable of going 60, 70 miles an hour, then yeah, you want a bigger battery. But honestly, for a pedal assist bike, a bike like this with throttle, I don't think you really need 100 miles of range. So get used to being disappointed by the manufacturer's range claims, because they're usually wildly exaggerated. 80, 90 miles. It's like, yeah, and pedal assist one with a 105-pound rider. So realistically, you're never going to get close to the advertised ranges. But 40 miles, I think this can do 40 miles. Maybe not the way I'm riding today, but I think the range on this bike is adequate. But honestly, I think it'd be really cool to have one with a 2,000 watt-hour battery, but somehow not be any heavier than the way it is now. We'll get there sooner or later. But I'm going to go ahead and finish my protein bar and then get back out there on the road. You know, I've ridden my bike around so much in the last couple of years that I've explored all these little bike trails, I swear, in the entire like Tri-City area I'm in. So I've kind of found a little route that I can go in between all these neighborhoods and never get on the main streets. It's pretty cool. I wish most cities would embrace that and add bike trails. They're currently at 23 miles, 23.3. Voltage is saying 54.7, which I believe is a little less than half. I'm probably 10 miles from my house right now, so I'd be lying if I said I'm not a little nervous. Fortunately, I can make it home without hitting any major hills and turn down the assist level if I need to. I think in theory this will cut off at 48 volts, but we'll see. I stay on these bike trails. So what I used to do is I'd open up Google Maps, and if you look around through the cities, the bike trails show up in solid green lines. So I told you, man, I don't want to say I was obsessed, but all my hobbies seem to have went away during 2020, and it was replaced. I bought the Turbo Levo, really nice bike, and man, I was out on it all the time because it replaced the gym. It was like what I did. I was all, you know, a lot of things weren't available to do anymore, so I went outside, and I was outside on that thing all the time. Initially started trail riding, but I got to the point with trail riding where I realized, you know, I'm not that great of a rider. I'm okay, but trail riding, you're gonna end up wrecking when you do it. And I'm 44 now, and the last thing I want to do is go take my bike out for a ride and end up tumbling down some trail or hitting a tree and, you know, end up not being able to walk anymore just because I wanted to go trail riding. So I know you can tone it down, but a lot of those trails are pretty dangerous. Fellow e-bikers, a couple on the Ventins. It's another reason I really like these e-bikes, because you see that a lot. I see older couples out on their bikes. It makes things accessible for everyone. So yeah, I toned it down on the trail riding, and I'm more into what I call adventure riding, where you just go and sightsee. I'll take some dirt trails and things, but I'm not trying to jump or go do a bunch of crazy tricks or go down crazy downhill sections, because to me the risk to reward's just not there. It's too dangerous. It's so easy to wreck on a bike like that. If you just lose concentration for 1 second, if you just stop paying attention for 1 second, you can hit a tree, you can go flying off the trail. And I've wrecked a couple times. I tumbled, bent my handlebars up. Luckily, nothing too bad happened to me, but it was enough for me to realize that, yeah, I need to tone it down. Couple advancements in the storyline here. We are now showing 0 bars on the display. I was just at a dead stop and voltage say around 55.7, and I'm about 6 miles from home, so I'm getting a severe, you know, mild range anxiety right now. I'm definitely heading in a more direct route back to the house, but 26.8 miles. We're at 29 miles now, showing about 53 volts on the meter, 0 bars here, but The battery pack itself is still showing 1 bar left. I've lowered my assist settings to 2. It's a nice view right here, huh? Go through these orchards with the sunset. And since I am now at over 500 miles, a couple observations. I definitely need to lube my chain. It's starting to make noise. It's probably because I've been riding through dusty areas today too. So this chain definitely needs to be cleaned. Woo! Extreme. I don't know if it's my imagination or what, but it seems as the voltage gets lower, the battery just drops faster in general. So I don't know if I have to look at, I'm gonna have to Google that one and see if that's actually something that happens. But I've noticed every e-bike I've ridden that's these hub-driven styles, the gauge, it doesn't move down in a linear fashion. The first bar takes forever to go away, then once it goes away, it'll just go super fast. So I don't know if that's just a display being inaccurate or if it's just the nature of how these batteries discharge. So I'll have to research that one. Maybe if you know the answer, you can put it in the comments. We are at 30.1 miles now. Definitely don't want to lose power up here. Maybe going through a little homeless area. I don't know if it's an old school mindset or what, but I don't like running the battery all the way out on these things. I don't know if it's bad for it or what, but it just seems like that, you know, I don't want to run my car out of gas when I drive it either, but something feels wrong about running the battery all the way down. I typically don't get it down below half. Still got enough energy to do this though. This feels like when I was a kid and I had to be home by the time it got dark and I was hurrying to make it home. That's how it feels right now. We're fighting the battery, we're fighting sun and daylight. Will I make it? Shortcut here, which is going to require climbing a steep hill. Granted, a short climb. Oh yeah, we got it. I got it. Not a problem. Woo! Better get home soon or I'm going to get in trouble. One thing I really like about riding bikes is that you end up finding these little connectors that go from one neighborhood to the next. Like, look at this. This is so random. This one just drops a level and goes into the next little neighborhood. The battery gauge is flashing now, and I honestly don't feel any assist anymore. So I think it might be out of battery. And we are at 32.4 miles right now. I'm going to try and turn it off and turn it back on because the voltage gauge at a stop is saying 52.6. Okay, it's no longer flashing. Let's see if it gives me any power. Oh, I got a little power. I'm going to keep it at pedal assist 1 for now and see how long it keeps up. You know, I'm going to go with 2. Lucky for me, I'm fairly close to my house now, and it's mostly flat around here, so it's worked out about perfect. I have a feeling it's going to cut out at any second now. Oh, there we go. And we are officially, I'm going to call that dead. I'm sure I could turn it back on and get a little bit of juice, but you know what, guys, I think that ought to serve as about how far you can go. So there you have it. I did 33.4 miles. Battery died, luckily for me, around 2 blocks away from my house. Like I said, I'm about 240 pounds. We had all sorts of terrain today. We had hills, we had gravel, we had dirt, we had asphalt, we had it all. So I think this serves as a pretty realistic range expectation for one of these bikes. Like I said before, if you ride this bike expecting it to be a motorcycle, you're going to be disappointed with the range. If you ride this bike as a bicycle, it's going to have great range. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.